What is going on, everybody? My name is Liam Murphy. I am the Best Ball Mania 2 champion, here to draft a Best Ball Mania 4 team on Underdog Fantasy in the quest to repeat as champion and take down the $3 million first place prize. We're already in this draft. We're doing this live. Let's rip it. What is up? What is up? What is up? Not giving anyone any notice today. Just jumped in this room for my 148th Best Ball Mania 4 team. Just jumped out of the pool, hence the Jedi hood. Putting it back on. Some good luck here. Unlimited power. Come on, that was pretty good. What is going on, guys? Don't usually do weekend streams, but we're here for a couple of reasons. We're so close to our goal of 3,000 subscribers. So we're on the road to 3K. Help me out with that. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button if you have not. What is up? Howdy to you, Lucky 7. We pulled lucky number 7 in our best ball draft, our fantasy football draft here on Underdog. If you're for some reason not up and running on Underdog, you can use promo code ChessLiam for a $100 deposit match. The link to do that is in the YouTube description below, along with the link to join my Discord, where in my Discord, you can find... Are we going Diggs? Are we going Bijan? We're not taking Kupp. We're going to try to get Kupp in the second round. Probably not going to get him, but let's just kind of juggle it. Let's juggle it and see what the gods give us today. What are you giving us, fantasy gods? What are you giving us? Sometimes I do a random number generator. Sometimes I do this. Today we got Bijan. I like the juggling method. What up, Vadim? Yesterday, or a couple days ago, I took Bijan at the 110 and I got I took Bijan at the 109 and I got Diggs at the 116. These rooms are wild. Obviously, looks like we're catching a couple of the red badge brigade in this draft. Probably not the softest draft. I only have 2 Best Ball Mania 4s left. This contest is probably filling on Monday at the latest. Maybe Tuesday. It's 90% filled at the moment. Ooh. Uh-oh, we got someone in here with us. You're at the 106. What's up, Hayes ID? Or LD? So yeah, I mean, I've seen some Cooper Kupp second round picks. It looks like Cooper Kupp is not going to play week 1. That is, I believe, confirmed. Some other things we're going to break down today. After this Best Ball Mania 4, I think we'll jump in a couple of the Dog Bowl. We'll talk about that after this. I do think the nighttime drafts are probably a little bit softer at this time of year. Kupp is not gone yet. I've seen screenshots of someone with a Tyreek Kupp team. Woof. That's pretty nice. Again, I mean, Cooper Kupp might not play football this year. It's a rare situation. You see, he did go here. Of course, he's not getting that by another red badge guy. Yeah, he's seeing a specialist. Doesn't sound great. I just think him seeing the specialist, Cooper Kupp, that is more for him to it's more so for him to just make sure it's not a recurring problem. Run Hot King. Thanks, Star Kindler. You too, man. Just was in the pool, so Pretty wide receiver heavy room so far. I am not going to go wide receiver here. I'm going to go running back for my last one or my second pick. A Bijan Pollard start. Something I've been wanting to have more of in my portfolio, honestly, because it's not crazy to say Bijan and Pollard could finish as the RB1 and RB2 on the year. So Von Go asks, is it possible to win one of these drafting this late? I'm not up to date on the history of these big best ball tournaments and what dates the winning teams were drafted. Well, here's what I'd say on that front, Von Go. One is any extrapolation of purely winning best ball teams is what? A sample of 5, 6, 7 teams. You know what I'm saying here? Where, okay, big deal. So my winning team was drafted in June in Best Ball Mania 2. Pat's team was drafted in July in Best Ball Mania 3. You know, you just have to think of what it takes to even get to the finals. Who do you get placed in a playoff pod with is a part of the equation, which is just random luck of the draw. So some years, all of the early drafted teams are randomly going to get placed in pods together and they're going to knock each other out. Okay. So no, if you ask me to choose, do I think it's more likely if an early drafted team or a late drafted team wins? I personally would choose early for this year. I still think you can draft sharp teams late. For example, you could take someone like a falling Cooper Kupp, a falling Jerry Jeudy, etc. And if these players are important in the fantasy playoffs and or the regular season, well, now you have a unique combo that was not available early on in the draft cycle. You can also take players with your 18th round pick that simply were not being drafted in May, which there are many players that come to mind there. So disagree with Chris here. That's not possible to win this late. Just don't agree with that at all. And like every year, I think it's possible the winner was drafted. All right, we got to show the boomers how to really make a hyper fragile team. We're getting the Bijan Pollard Ramondre start. So yeah, I mean, I think there's sharp ways you can build late drafted teams. For example, early on in draft cycles, I don't think you could get this combo. Bijan, Pollard, and Ramondre. Are my wide receivers going to be a little bit weaker? Yes, they are. And someone like me who's been in the market since day one kind of knows the players who have risen a lot. So I can kind of just, think through that. Okay, I don't care how you would gamble, Chris. You're just frankly wrong if you think a team could not win that was drafted today. Again, a lot of playoff variance. It's only a 460-man pod in Week 17. What if only teams from late August make the finals? That will happen some weird years of playoff advancements. And it's different every year. Some years the market's going to be sharp at contest launch. I think next year is going to have more and more eyes at the start of the contest. So yeah, that's my feelings on that. Am I at 150 on DK yet? No. You can see on my Twitter here. I'm unfortunately having to do 7 drafts at the same time, at least. I'm at 37 on the DK Millie, which is my last big chunk that I need to do. So it's not fun. But I'm at 37 out of 150, which 150 minus 37 equals 113 drafts. If I do 7 at a time, means I need to do this 16 times, which is basically like 16 hours. Because I'm not trying to do slow drafts. So how wide is the monitor? I don't know, man. I could look up my Amazon purchase history, but it's pretty big. Am I doing slows? No. We're slow. We're no slows over here. Honestly, I might do some slows if I have to, especially once the slows become 10-minute drafts or whatever they become. That to me is like, well, now we're doing fast. Yeah, the market has a lot of fear in it, man. Okay. Well, the wide receivers I wanted are gone. So some sharp people would say, "Oh, you can't do this. What are you doing? Your 4th round pick is not going to hit your lineup most weeks. That's just dumb." Well, literally, Bijan, Pollard, Ramondre, Breece Hall could be RB 1 through 4 on the season. And maybe it's hard to advance Breece Hall if he's slow to start. So we're going to build a 4 running back team, stopping at 4 running backs here. Got to have some alpha T on them. Honestly, I wish I built a couple more teams like this in my high stakes portfolio, because I think it's very viable that this could be like the nuts this year. Good afternoon, Brian. Is the winning team this year going to have a rookie tight end? I could see. Well, what do you mean? Are you talking about the regular season prize, or are you talking about the overall season winner? Because those are different things. Well, this ain't weekly, Lucky. You'll try to let some wide receivers slide to me? Oh, I'm sure you will, man. I'm sure you will. Looks like it with an Olave Metcalf London start. Obviously going to hammer some wide receivers here. Going to stop at 4 RBs, which, like if there's some falling running back values, I'm simply not getting those players. So we'll see. This team could be dead on arrival already. You haven't drafted a hyper-fragile team since June? Yeah, man, I think the hyper-fragile build early was probably, which I didn't do a ton of, was probably pretty sharp early, where there were some real inefficiencies with the wide receiver ranks. Am I going to give my fans my DFS lineups? Probably not. I don't know how much DFS I'm going to play this year. Really, I'm still in best ball season right now, so don't really think I'll have week 1 content for DFS. And we'll see what I do there. In a DK draft right now, you have Chubb, Barkley, Stevenson, and Najee Harris for top 4. Would you stop on this too? I think DK is a little bit different with the 20 rounds, so probably mixing in a 5th running back late, or if there's like a sweet value. Am I going to run up battle royales? After this, once I finish this Best Ball Mania 4 stream, we're going to do some of the... We're going to talk about the Dog Bowl, and I think I'm going to do some Dog Bowl drafts. Okay, so no quarterbacks to take, no tight ends to take. Wide receiver it is. I've liked Christian Kirk all year. I still like Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk, wide receiver 1. Welcome to the team. Am I going to do NBA best ball? Probably not. Lights out. Probably not. I've thought about doing NBA and MLB in the past, but honestly, NFL is year-round now, so, like, what's the point? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And also, the prize pools are not that big. Like, literally in May, Underdog has a contest that will be around 100K to first, I believe I will stream my 150th Best Ball Mania 4, but I might not. So this might be the last BBM4 stream. Really depends. Sometimes, I'm a bit of a night owl sometimes, a bit of a morning person other times. Sometimes I'm ripping those 3 a.m. teams. More edges in NBA and MLB, to be fair. Maybe. Not for me. I don't know any of the players. I don't watch the games. I don't watch the sports. A lot of my edge in football is literally I know the depth charts for probably like all 32 teams or almost all the depth charts. And in golf, I just didn't find golf that hard to learn. I read one article on the players and then just kind of made some game theory adjustments. And golf, golf's not that dynamic. You don't have new dudes popping out of the woodworks. You're terrible at NBA, going to stick to NFL. Yeah, Berg. I mean, I think a lot more people out there should be. You can be a plus EV gambler at one form of gambling and very terrible at another form. I don't know if I'm being clear enough here, lights out. I'm not that interested in learning NBA. Gabe Davis, wide receiver 2. Could be in for a big year. Have some spikes at worst. It's kind of fun drafting teams like this sometimes where it's like, all right, I know. I'm done running back. Check. Don't need to draft any more players there. NBA, you have to have real depth of knowledge? Probably, yeah. Good job, lights out. Good job. Battle Royales, we talked about a little bit. Again, guys, if you're just discovering this channel, my name's Liam Murphy. You don't want to miss out. Make sure you subscribe. We are on the road to 3K. So even if you are subscribed, make sure, click that little bell button so you never miss a stream. Make sure you like the video too. Let's see. I'm going to pull the stream. 13 likes. Embarrassing. Come on, guys. 14 likes now. I had to like my own video. That's sad. Am I looking at a 3 tight end, 3 QB team, or is it up in the air? It is up in the air, Berg. I literally don't know, Scarecrow. Do you see more engagement for BBM streams over high stake underdog contest or no such thing? Just curious. Yeah, I think it's pretty. I would assume something like Ball Mania 4 is a lot more relatable to the average viewer. Most people are probably not playing high stakes. Sometimes people still want to see high stakes, but I would guess that I always try to stay relatable, Bateman or Tony? That's a close one, man. I'm warming to Tony a little bit, who previously I was pretty out on, but seeming like he might be a go for week 1. His price is pretty palatable in the 9th and 10th round. Bateman, on the other hand, has also flashed before. I want to bet on the Ravens, so it's a mix for me. Those 2 and Burks, mix all 3. Where do you think Judy should be going at the moment? Where would you take him? Well, I've taken him in the 80s and the low and the high 70s. I've taken some shares there. Okay. I'm not the biggest Dallas Goedert guy, but I like getting a borderline elite tight end in Goedert, even though I need wide receivers. Because it's Goedert might just straight up outscore Zay Flowers, especially if he runs hot on touchdowns. And if I'm going to be giving up wide receiver points, I kind of like, stopping at 2 tight ends with Goddard. And hopefully, like Goddard could be top 3, top 4, top 5 in some good years if he runs hot on touchdowns and or AJ Brown or Devonta Smith gets hurt. So I like his fit on this team. It's my exposure to Drake London. He's someone I'm warming to as well. Just kind of like could be very good. What really it was for me is I watched that preseason game with Marcus Mariota, and like how bad Mariota was is hard to understate. And I'm like, so I don't even need to watch Ritter play football. Just be like, he can't be that, And that's who was throwing to those guys primarily. So I don't have a huge bag on him. Definitely taking him in the 5th round. It's close between Kirk and him for me. Taking him somewhat in the 4th round. Do I have a Gibson Robinson take? Like all of my early teams have round 11 Gibson, so I've just stopped taking him in the 9th round. And I'm taking a lot more Brian Robinson because of that, who I was not taking early. And also, I just think Robinson has more upside. But, like if either of those guys gets hurt, the other one is smashing, Feels great to get Brandon Cooks as the wide receiver 3. So, like, for the alpha running back start, Kirk, Davis, Cooks could be worse, Cooks and Pollard a little bet on the Cowboys. Not hating it. Cooks is either like a very good fantasy football player this year or absolutely terrible. Where like he was real bad last year, but we're hoping that was him quitting on the organization. And he's kind of like the last guy in a tier for me. How often am I going 2 elite tight end builds? Somewhat often. I prioritize tight end, I think, more than other people. Elite ones. No, Scarecrow. I don't think any Twitter poll of mine influenced how I draft. Yeah, I mean, with London, it's just like, he's competing with like backup tight ends for targets. Ooh, excuse me. So yeah, the Kupp report is that Cooper Kupp is in Minnesota today visiting with a noted body specialist to further understand his hamstring issue, per Ian Rappaport. With two pools in one summer, the hope is to fully comprehend the root of the issue. Coach Sean McVay has described him as day-to-day. And then one medical guy in the comments said, something I see all the time in my practice is an underlying sciatic nerve issue that leads to hamstring injuries. In short, the body will protect the nerve at all costs and will do so by causing the hamstring to contract so hard that it gets injured. So some speculation there. I mean, to me, like I've seen other people be like, oh no, like it's very hip to be like, this seems very bad. And like, yeah, it's not great. But on the other hand, it's possible that they're just trying to be proactive. I don't think it's a great sign for him playing week 1 or week 2, maybe even, but it might be them trying to be like fully understand this and then to be like, okay, when can we play him and what are the risks? So I don't think it's a bad thing to ever be more knowledgeable. You saw something saying he's been ruled out for week 1. Yeah, Underdog tweeted something out about that. Let's see here. We're going to take Dak. I mean, we've seen Dak have huge years before in fantasy. You know, like 330 points 2 years ago. Gets hurt last year. A healthy Dak. Like he's a little bit more statue than we want, but the man could be very solid this year. Obviously, took Dak to stack with Pollard and Cooks too. And I'm taking a bunch of wide receivers, so I would like some quality at QB and tight end. Like, feels good that I'm really only trying to sort out the 3 wide receiver spots each week, because most weeks Goddard's in there, Dak's in there, and then my running back spots in flex is taken care of by my alpha running backs. So yeah, the Rappaport says Kupp is unlikely to play week 1. Gotta love the Twitter doctors, Joe Schmo. Mr. MU Tiger updating us on his draft. Love it. Yeah, I think this is the common take, which maybe is not that reality. Dak production feels like it'll be limited by their coaching. I mean, I think it's probably being overstated how bad McCarthy can be. But we will see. I don't love attaching, I don't love that McCarthy's the coach, but probably not going to be that bad. Michelle, here's Puma. What's up? What's up, Sam? Brian, bro, we don't draft defenses. This is best ball. Favorite movie of all time? Wow, great question. I like Castaway, the movie. Pretty classic. I like Molly's Game. I don't know if I have a favorite off the top of my head here. Rounders is a good movie. I think we got a Lions fan with this one. No, Carlos. All right, well, we're going to take Kincaid and be done at tight end. Tight end, check. Boom. Probably go Richardson if he was there over Kincaid. It's like a coin flip. But being down at one of the onesies is kind of how I like to build my hyper fragile teams. The wide receivers are going to be gross guys, but yeah, I mean, I don't think Kincaid is necessarily going to be a high advance rate player, which means he doesn't score a ton of regular season points. I mean, he could, right? Like, he very likely could. He also could not be, in which case, whatever. I have leverage on the field with a guy who I think can still have spike weeks. My aunt and uncle just got here, so we're going to cut this bad boy short at the end here. Gabe seems like a great best ball guy. That's been the play, Brian. That's been the play. Star Kindler likes Molly's game. It's pretty great, man. I didn't scold the shit out of anyone. You too, Duke. Yeah, I mean, it either will work or it won't work. Obviously, is it ideal? My wide receivers are Kirk, Gabe Davis, Cooks versus, I don't know, Amon-Ra, Garrett Wilson, Christian Watson, and Mike Williams. No, that's not ideal. But maybe Bijan, Pollard, Ramondre can make up the point difference on Pierce, Swift, White. Plus, hopefully I get enough at quarterback and tight end. And if it advances, well, then it's just like, all right, fall into the end zone, guys. Eight more picks here. Ideally to me, we find a way to stop at 2 QB. Which drafting Rodgers kind of lets me do that, but then I have Dak and Rodgers with a week 7 bye, which doesn't, it's not a killer to me, but probably need a third QB then. What if the Bills implode this year? Will your best ball teams take a hit? I mean, I don't have Bills on every best ball team, but yeah, I mean, the only way the Bills quote unquote implode is if Josh Allen gets hurt. They're not going to don't listen to any ESPN talking heads about the team. It's very popular right now when we have no news. Whatever, we're taking Rodgers. Stacks with Brees. He has late stacking options. He has a smidge of upside. Rodgers could be a smash this year. Carlos said they'll be obliterated, Alex. Yeah, wouldn't it be great for me? Again, the only way an elite offense is not scoring a lot of points is if they lose their starting quarterback. You could say the same question for what if the Chargers implode this year? What if the Bengals implode this year? What if the Eagles implode this year? What if the Chiefs implode this year? And I would really recommend if you listen to ESPN talking heads like Stephen A. Smith for entertainment, go for it. But do not take a smidge of what they're reporting as news. You let Pat scare you on Kincaid? Pat could be right, man. You should not just blindly tail me on every bet I make. I'm allowed to be wrong. For example, I take Kincaid over Njoku sometimes, and that's not the most comfortable thing in the world because I think Njoku is going to be solid at worst. And Njoku could have a very good year, But yeah, I mean, people were off the rocker when they were fudding Kincaid when he was in the 12th round, which is when we originally had that discussion, Pat and I. That's when I was like, who the hell is burying you? How early would I take Taylor? Man. It just seems like in every draft, someone's going to take him before me. I would take him in the 6th or 7th, maybe. It just seems like he's actually injured. Browns are for sure strange, man. See, they are a team that literally could not be very good. If they lose a piece or two on their O-line, that team will struggle. Okay. MVS attached to Patrick Mahomes should run better on touchdowns. We need wideouts. Welcome to the squad. You can see Watson going down in flames. Yeah, man. He is either going to be... Wow. I got to pull this up. This dude has a lot better setup than me. Look at this guy. Look at Money Mike's here setup here. He's got the wrong YouTube channel on, not me. He's got 4 separate monitors for this. He's got this here. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. How many entrants were there in BBM the year you won? 160,000. I think it was 460 last year, and this year it's 670. But it's like things aren't changing that much, even though the contest is that big. It's still like steep advance rates. The final size was 160 people the year I won. Last year's 460. This year's 460. I can outdo that setup once you win BBM4. Alex, I think I could afford to outdo that setup now. I'm just not it's just not my style. He's probably injured like Hawkinson was injured. I don't know, man. Just like seeing how seeing the few videos I saw of him walking and whatnot. I don't know. Like he could still be an absolute smash, but I'm not taking him in the 4th. I think it's a discussion in the 5th. And I would not 100% take him any round. If you want to be that guy and you think that's your best chance of winning, go for it. Okay, Mingo, rookie, upside bet. Wide receiver 5. Did I ever do a video on my winning team? I had my own YouTube channel back then, Brian. Like, probably I have. I've definitely, showed it on streams before. Yo, did you get into YouTube game because you won BBM, or were you in the YouTube space before you won BBM? Yes and no. I was already streaming for chess.com with Chess Kid. You can go on the Chess Kid YouTube and you can find videos of me there. The other day I played my Chess Kid robot. So I was doing streams for them. I had thought I was going to get into the space as a chess streamer, just kind of doing nightly chess streams, trying to make a living through donations and sponsorships. Once I got big enough was the goal. Then when I won Ball Mania 2, and then the next year won 2 more best ball contests, it was kind of all right, well, clearly life is kind of showing me to go on this path. However, I think I would be a lot bigger of a streamer if I had stuck with chess. Chess is booming. It also has a bigger audience. The biggest fantasy football accounts are not that big on YouTube comparative wise. The biggest chess accounts have 1 million subscribers. I don't think anyone in fantasy football has that. And obviously, I'm a small streamer in fantasy football, even though I've won all these contests, probably because my marketing's not the best. What up, Meat Wad? Yeah, Starkindler did have 3 teams in the finals the year I won Best Ball Mania. He wasn't the only one. That's going to be my article. I'm going to write an article about lessons learned once I do launch my site. Lessons learned through advancing through the Best Ball Mania playoffs, and that's going to be one of the sections. What was my FIDE ranking? 2050. but it's based off of like very few games. Am I fan of Agadametor? I don't watch a lot of his stuff, being honest. Michael Gallup works with the Cowboys stack, obviously. Also, Gallup, I mean, past ADP, coming off the ACL was bad last year, but probably will be better this year. Who cares about streaming if you keep winning? Well, Ruben, the business side of things just has a lot more upside. Like, this is something Levitan talks about with ETR, is like, people would ask him a question of like, oh, if you win money playing cash games in daily fantasy sports, like, why have a business, And it is true. Just like the business side of things has a lot more upside. It's also more rewarding where, like gambling is zero sum. So I will launch, man. And like, yeah, it's just like, it's like, for example, my only form of income the past 2 years of my life has been best ball tournaments. I do, obviously I think I'm a good best ball player. Obviously, I also think I've ran a little good to win the tournaments and not finish second or third, which is like a significant money difference. And it's probably like negligible building a second place team versus a first place team as far as like skill. So basically, I don't want my only form of income to be best ball tournaments and or gambling. So looking for ways to change that, because like, I don't know, want to have a kid one day, set them up, blah blah blah. Botez sisters or something. Yeah, I've actually went to a party at Alexandra Botez's house in New York City back when I lived there, before she was like really big. It was a strange party. Chess is not bigger than fantasy football. I mean, it is for the content game, because you have to consider, while like a lot of people play fantasy football, they only really come towards like late August. Whereas like the diehards, like the people who have been following my shit since May, that's not a big slice of the pie. Who is the young kid that beat Magnuson lately? I mean, there's a ton of strong Indian players and just strong young players in general. Establish the income streams. Yeah, man. Trying to diversify my income streams here. Thank you, man. Yeah, and I plan to really, like, I do think me writing content about best ball is going to significantly hurt my edge, where I plan to really educate the people who sign up. Marry a rich girl. I like Rashid Shaheed quite a bit. The chess bras I like, man. They got good content. I don't watch them that much. Waiting for the site to drop for 2 months. Lights out. This is nothing new by me, man. Where I before I launched my YouTube, I talked about it for like a month and a half. Sorry, dude. It's like I procrastinate. And the other thing is, like, I want to launch it and I can't just launch it and then be like, all right, here it is. I need to sit down and write 4 to 5 like pretty serious articles, And maybe it would just be it's like not the worst thing in the world that I don't have it up and running this year. It's like, it's not like best ball's going anywhere, But if I'm not launched by May of next year, I'm a failure. If I'm not launched, honestly, by the time playoff best ball rolls around, failure. Would I consider joining other best ball or DFS sites? I would not be willing to trade my time for simply an income. Never say no. If like someone hit me with a sweet equity package, maybe. That'd be sick, man. Like, obviously, none of us are winning BBM4, guys. It's like too effing big, but one of us will. Do I think I could get the NM title? I do, Nathan, if I put in a lot of work. Do I think I'm willing to put in that amount of work? Probably not. But maybe. I don't know. It's like it's pretty reclusive to. Man, I was thinking about taking Bryce Young, but he also has a week 7 bye, so that doesn't really even help me my issues here. Is there any stack partners that does not have a week 7 bye? Desmond exists, but we're not taking him here. I like Darius Slayton. Yeah, I mean, before the pandemic happened, I was like really grinding at chess, and I was climbing quite a bit in the ratings. I was like regularly beating experts, which are rated 2000. And so I was for sure going to cross expert into USCF, and maybe I would have galvanized me to push for NM, which is not like that hard to reach. It is getting harder though with like how good children are. Rank these quarterbacks, please. Cousins, Rodgers, Goff. Cousins, Goff, Rodgers. But it's very close, Stefan, where like obviously you should tie break towards a stack. So if I have Garrett Wilson, I'm taking Rodgers. If I have Jefferson, Addison, Hawkinson, I'm taking Cousins. If I have a Monroe, I'm taking Goff. Have I done any 1, 3, 13, 1 builds in BBM4? Is it viable, and how best to execute it in the first few rounds? I mean, anything, I guess, technically is viable. I wouldn't build a lot like that. I think the way you would build it is like Kelsey, Mahomes, 3 straight running backs, and then bang out wide out. I don't think it's the best way to build, though. NM, for anyone confused, is National Master. I think I might just be eating a 0 at QB week 7 and hope that Prescott and Rodgers do enough, which is not ideal, but it is what it is. And why am I doing that? It's because I don't want to stop at only 8 wide receivers on this team. I really want to get a 9th and a 10th. Oh, we're going McCole Hardman here. Hardman to stack with Rodgers. I'm not that spooked about this Cobb news. Hardman should still be a spike week guy. I'm going to run to the bathroom. Then we're going to do some best ball dog bowls, and then going to get out of here. Look at this professional timing by me, just in time. Man, I don't know. There's so many guys I could take here. I could take Ritter. I could take Tutu. I could take Palmer. I could take Deontay Hardy. All are in the mix. Kirk, Gabe, Cook, MVS, Mingo, Gallup, Rashid Shaheed, Darius Slayton. We're taking Trey Palmer this time. And if I had taken Trey Palmer the last round, then I could have thrown Baker into the mix too. So that finishes us up with a 2-4-10-2 build. Prescott, Rodgers, eating a 0 week 7 at QB. Hopefully the team scores enough. That doesn't matter. Bijan, Pollard, Ramondre, Breece Hall. Obviously, this team goes as this group of running backs goes. Kirk, Gabe Davis, Cooks, MVS, Mingo, Gallup, Rashid Shaheed, Darius Slayton. If anything I would change here, it might be the Darius Slayton pick. He's just getting drafted a lot. If I had taken, I don't know, Trey Palmer there, then maybe I can do Baker. Darius Slayton, but I do like Slayton. McCole Hardman, Trey Palmer, Goddard, and Kincaid. Don't love taking Hardy as much on a team I have Kincaid and Gabe Davis on. So yeah, that finishes us up there for this one. Let's get this bad boy named. Named and dated. How come I have no interest in Sterling Shepard this year? Yeah, I mixed him in a little bit early on in the draft process, but it just kind of seems like that wide receiver room is so convoluted for a team that will not pass that much and it seems like he's behind several guys in the pecking order. So he has been very good at football. Maybe he has trade outs. 2-4-10-2 streamed. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. This team, it's viable. Maybe I should have gone Ritter as QB. We'll see if that hurts me. Ideally, one of these guys just would have had a different buy, but it is what it is. Real quick before we get out of here for today, wanted to talk about the Dog Bowl qualifier on Underdog. So the Dog Bowl is here. It is basically like their form of DFS, their Battle Royale contest. It's a weekly competition where the top 3 players from each week punch their ticket to Miami to compete for $1 million a prize at a live event. 12 weeks of qualifiers, $10K to the top 3 scores each week, plus a ticket for you and a friend to join us in Miami if you win. Max you can win is 3 tickets, by the way. If you make the finals, there's 36 teams. So the last 10 teams get just their 10K, so they don't get any extra dollars. 21 to 25th gets 12, 16 to 20th, 15, 11 through 15th, 20. 10th place gets 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 60, 70, 100, and 200. So pretty flat payout structures, all things considered. Obviously, going to be disappointing if you finish 36th or 26th. Really want to finish top 4, top 1. I do think there are some weeks where I might 150 it. It's 13K entrants total each week. If you're not finishing first, second, or third, your team is dead in the water, period. So, 4th to 5th, you get 10x your monies with $100. That's not what any of your ROI is in. So it's very top heavy. It's not a great contest if you're trying to grind out, dollars for sure. If you have expendable income, I think it's a great contest to fire a couple at. If you're only firing 1 or 2 bullets, what I would suggest is either hoping you get unique at the top of the draft through some extreme unique fallers in ADP, or forcing uniqueness with your last pick or two, where you can just take a player that is not being drafted a lot, because most people are not going to be reaching on, take your pick, Donovan Peoples-Jones, random tight end, random quarterback. So we're going to do one team here before we get out on stream. I had done 7 already. So the other thing is, like, a lot of people have said they're not interested in playing it, so it might overlay, which would obviously help. I think it has like 28% rake, which is not great. Like, that's pretty high rake, but I think compared to normal best ball, there's a lot of logistical service that requires for this. And if you want to do Battle Royale, but you don't want to, win this Miami ticket, they have their, no, not weekly winners. They have their Battle Royale, which will have bigger prize pools in the future. I think it is a small prize pool for week 1, just because best ball is still in the lobby. And so, their regular Battle Royale is 20K, 10K, 4K, whatever, which I'm not going to be doing week 1, but I'm assuming as their prize pool gets bigger, I will. Hope you guys are enjoying this stream. Let's pull up my video, see how many likes. We got 117 people, 37 likes. Help me out, guys. 2.96K subscribers. We are 40 away. The season launches Thursday. I need to get 3K or I'm retiring from YouTube. Kupp or AJ Brown in full PPR? I'd be going AJ Brown on the injury news. You think regular bank BR is low because they want to see how Dog Bowl fills? I mean, that could be it, but I think it's primarily because they don't want people playing BR at the expense of filling their best ball. So I would just assume it's a week 1 thing. You're not doing the week 1 Battle Royale because of the prize pool? I feel the same way, Vadim. I'm expecting that they're going to have prize pools of like 100K to first, in which case I think Battle Royale is probably a lot more beatable for the regular person versus like daily fantasy sports. So definitely plan to do some there. We have 4 more if you guys want to jump in this dog bowl with me, by the way. It is $10 to enter. Well, we wait, guys. Another tweet I put out today says, don't draft early. You can't risk zeros on your teams. And I said, the market being bad in the late rounds is not a sticky year-to-year phenomenon. I don't think there are many pure zeros people were drafting early in best ball. The names that came to mind to me are Malik Davis, Leonard Fournette, maybe. Kareem Hunt, maybe. Tyquan Thornton, again, maybe. He's on IR. Dwayne McBride, probably for sure, 0. Deneric Prince, probably for sure, 0. Trey Lance, probably a 0, but, he has injury outs. Bengals RB2, who is really the RB3 or 4, which I don't know who that is. Ronald Jones, probably is a 0. James Robinson, someone said. I don't think Jeff Wilson's a 0 this year. Will Levis, again, maybe a 0. Like, I think Tannehill could for sure get benched. Tim Patrick, which is not like a guy getting tearing an ACL is not the same thing as the market just being bad and drafting Rashad Perryman. Corey Davis, obviously, is an example of the market not understanding that. All right, guys, we filled this. We pulled the 103. It's only 6 rounds, so these go quick. You just have to do 1 QB, only 1 running back, 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end, and then a flex, which can be any position other than quarterback. So again, 1 QB, 1 running back, 2 wideouts, tight end, and flex. Brandon Cooks or Sutton week 1. It's close with the if Judy doesn't play, it's close, but I just kind of like I draft Brandon Cooks ahead of Sutton in best ball, but they go right next to each other, so. Thought Lenny would be signed by now. Yeah, man, I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, either of these guys are waiting for better situations, or they are truly done. It's not really any two-and ifs or buts about it. All right, Jamar Chase, pretty easy pick for me there. I like Tyreek too. Tyreek gets the Chargers, should be a pace-up game. That's going to be the chalk DFS game this week. Chargers, Dolphins. Chase gets Cleveland. Good luck, McCaffrey. Am I at all worried about Kincaid with Knox playing like every snap in that preseason game? No, man, I'm not worried. And I've told you, he could be a low advance rate play. You shouldn't blindly tail me on every pick. If you don't like Kincaid, don't draft him. If you're worried, don't draft him. I am not. Yeah, Nathan is more of the later draft crowd. I looked at Lenny's Instagram. It looked a little chubby to me, but how points are going to be scored Thursday night? Don't know what you mean by this, Matt. Guys are going to throw the football, run the football. They're going to fall in the end zone, kick field goals. That's how points are scored. I have experience in these that people use their full 30-second pick clock. I don't know why. I know what you meant, Matt. I was just being an asshole. How many points are going to be scored? I don't know. I don't think the Lions. I think the Lions could win that game. Yeah, the game's at the Chiefs Stadium, but this Lions team is very good. They really invested on their secondary this year. And so, I understand the Colts are 6.5-point favorites. If I was forced to bet someone there, I would bet. The Chiefs are 6.5-point favorites. I would bet the Lions plus 6.5. And I don't think I don't think the Lions are the worst bet to just win outright. They are very legit. They're a team that has a good O-line. The Chiefs' defense is not great. The Chiefs' offense might be questionable. So we'll see. Clearly, we have a Jags fan here, or a Chiefs fan here. If they can keep pressure off Goff, he's good. Yeah, and we don't even know if Chris Jones is playing for the Chiefs. Bing bong. Detroit has one wide receiver. Okay, well, they're going to throw the ball to Amon-Ra. They're going to throw the ball to Laporta. They're going to throw the ball to Gibbs. And they might just ground and pound him. How much Kenny Pickett do you have, and are you a believer in the YouTube breakout? I have very little Kenny Pickett. I was not that big of a believer of the year 2 breakout. I will say he looked good in the preseason, so I'm a little bit worried about that, but it is what it is. I like Jordan Love more than him. Could be wrong. I like Metcalf's chance to have a big game against the Rams. What is this draft? This is a dog bowl. Simply, whoever scores the most points, top 3 guys are going stamping a ticket to Miami. Finally, what we came for, fluke content. My girlfriend's putting notes on the door saying she loves me. She just got here too, so gonna have to go after this, guys. What age should I start teaching my child how to play the weird ceramic flute? Usually I get questions about what age should I start teaching my child chess, but this is a great question, Joshua. Honestly, I don't know what material this is made out of. It could have asbestos in it, so probably you want to shoot for like 18 plus. I didn't say I have sex, Matt. Dude, these drafts are so slow. They are so slow. Like, Underdog, can we make some fools auto draft once in their life? Joe Burrow. Anytime you can not get Joe Burrow stacked, you just have to do it. These rooms have been so weird. Where, like, I'll take, like, Ridley here, and then someone will just take Kirk just to secure that I don't get. I mean, they'll just take Trevor, is what I meant. Sure. Devonta Smith destroys the Patriots. Pretty chalky on the start here, so we're going to have to get weird later. What I meant, yeah, like, I took Ridley, and, like, Trevor goes in the second round. It's just like, all right, what are we doing? Kupp getting drafted every time in Battle Royale, even though he's a 0% to play. I drafted him yesterday before we got the clear he's not going to play. What happens in these contests when someone is not going to play is your team is not dead. You get to late swap that player, which I don't know. I've never really done these drafts before, so we'll have to see what that plays out like. But it's honestly not the worst thing to have taken Kupp yesterday like I did, because I'm simply going to choose a player that the field is not drafting. So I'm just getting unique. Where is Kelsey? This is the Thursday night game's not on this, man. It's just the main slate. Hey, man, in a 10-team half-point PPR, 1 QB, 2 RB, 3 wideout, 1 tight end, 1 flex, is Kelsey worth the 104 for the positional advantage? Rocket Man, if you think your league is that bad that you can outdraft them elsewhere, sure. But personally, I would be taking one of Jefferson, Chase, Tyreek, or CMC. Next guy in your rank gets swapped, yeah. So I'm going to have to actually, like, toy with my rankings. Build their tolerance to asbestos early. Yeah, hey, man. Different strategies. Do I think something like this is harder to multi-table compared to BBM4? No. I was multi-tabling like 5 at the same time. They're quite easy, honestly. After I finish this, we're going to look at the first 5 numbers set in the chat. Don't say them yet, because I'm not going to pull these early numbers. But once I finish this draft, the first 5 numbers pulled in the chat, we will look at the best Ball Mania 4 team I drafted that correlates to that number. Numbers 1 through 148. Honestly, those flutes were pretty weak by me earlier, so we got to get a good one here, guys. Pretty nice. Everyone must be auto drafting. Yeah, man. 148, dude. We just did it on stream. Hate to be the homely guy, but half point PPR, 12 team, 3 wide out start. Get to keep Jefferson for the last time with a late round pick. Drew the 101. Should I just take CMC or Reek? Almost all keepers are wide receiver. Yeah, if it's just take CMC or Reek, man. And like look at who's available for wide receiver, running back. I'd be tempted to just go Tyreek and then just take, assuming that you're going to get running backs at the 2-3 turn, having like a Jefferson, Tyreek, running back start seems very strong. Is there stacking going on in this draft? Dude, I think honestly that these feel so slow that everyone is auto drafting and or milking their time on my YouTube stream in front of the 130 viewers. So I can't draft any more wideouts. We're going to take Geno as our QB to stack with Metcalf. Dog, I don't even know who Jake Paul is. No, I've not used his app. 31 years old. I don't know who Jake Paul is. Is this Jake Paul's marketing manager trying to get some advertising on my stream? Pretty sharp of you. Pretty sharp of you to do that, if so. Yeah, I mean, I think the way I want to be building these is getting some running backs off the board in the late rounds as your sole running back and or some wide receivers off the board in the late rounds. Also, I think the field will probably be doing more 3 wide receiver builds, so mixing in some 2 RB starts. I mean, Engram is blown up on the Colts. So let's go Engram. I like the start. It's probably like pretty chalky, but again, it's only like 13,000 entrants, so you're not 13,000 divided by 12 means there's 1,083 drafts if it fills. So, let's assume Chase was picked at the 103. Like, how many times is Chase combined with Metcalf and Smith? I don't know. Let's say it's like 20% of the time, which I think is like a really high number. Okay, now I'm competing with 200 teams. So I just need to get weirder there. Shut up, Carlos. Just kidding with you, man. Is this a Wattweiler? No. Oh, Logan Paul? Yeah. I know him. No, I mean, I don't know. How are the Paul Bros famous? I don't even know how that came to be. Yeah, I've seen tools that claim they can do certain things. I'm a little skeptical what these tools can actually do because, to my knowledge, you're not allowed to scrape all of the data off of Underdog. You can upload past drafts and take educated guesses. You can I don't know what you're allowed to do as far as like scraping, but what I'm pretty sure you can't do is you can't like have a tool that just scrapes every single draft that's been made. You're welcome, Vadim. Thanks for streaming this. Nice to get a view before getting my feet wet. Yeah, like how I'm building this one is like fine, where I just like take 3 wideouts who could go nuclear. And like a quarterback that's correlated and like a high scoring tight end. This is not the best showcase for uniqueness, but we're going to try to get unique at the running back position. Which you don't need to go like that crazy to get unique. Like, for example, Najee Harris is probably being drafted in less than 1% of drafts. You know? Rashad Penny has probably not been drafted at all. Zach Charbonnet for sure has not been drafted at all. Jaylen Warren has not been drafted at all. Kenneth Gainwell has not been drafted at all. Javonte Williams probably barely drafted. DeAndre Swift probably barely drafted. Miles Sanders probably not drafted a ton. I do think Mostert's going to start getting popular, but like, you know, you don't need to be taking DJ Dallas and be like, I'm getting unique, you know? Still too high for Najee, to be honest. Oh, man. Rocket Man saying, speaking of tools, I've seen guys in the industry touting some tools that I'm convinced aren't even legal in Underdog terms of service that can basically draft your team for you. Yeah, Rocket Man, I don't want to open up this bag of worms because I don't think I do myself any favors, but I'm not a fan of auto drafting software for you, mostly because it can collude. I've talked about this for a while, so I don't know. I'm just going to let Underdog handle it and whoever. Oh, they're RuPaul's children? Okay. The combinations are just calculated based on ADP? Okay. We're going to go with Brian Robinson in this one. Probably getting drafted at a very low amount. Giving me a little uniqueness. And like if you plan to do a lot of these, I would fall, like, I've taken Swift in some. I would take Rachaad White in some. Like, these are all guys being drafted very low. But with me having a pretty chalk wide receiver, QB, tight end room, a little bit how the ADPs line up too, like, you got to get a little off the board at running back probably. Can I rank these 3 wide receivers? I don't know why you added Las Vegas to Mayors. There's no one else with that last name in the player pool. Mayer, Boyd, Zay Jones. Zay Jones, Boyd, Mayer. But honestly, like what you're making me do here, Stefan, is not how I prefer to rank. I'm more of a tiered ranker. They are all in the same tier for me. I would say Boyd and Zay Jones are like very slightly a tier up, though. But these are 3 guys very, the market has them ranked the same. I view them very similar too. You could say Zay and Boyd have the most contingent upside because if something happens to Higgins, Chase, Kirk, or Ridley, then they are, they have elite quarterbacks where like Myers can't have that breakout. I don't know, I was saying Mayer, Najee 0% drafted in your 100 battle royale so far by anyone. Yeah, I assume so. I will have one week 1 DFS lineup with Jaylen Warren just because I'm a sicko. All right, guys. Before I get in too much trouble here, let's look at 5 of my Best Ball Mania 4 teams. Again, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please do so. It will help you too. Because your competition is. All right, guys. 1 through 148. First 5 numbers. If we both make it to Miami, you want 1 game of chess? Booked. McCaffrey, you got it. Best ball team number 5. Thank you, Tommy. On mobile, it doesn't make you do this load more nonsense, but we ain't on mobile. So this was drafted on the launch day, 2763. It's a Kirk Cousins, Geno Smith team. Josh Jacobs, Gibbs. Gibbs was a guy, his ADP opened at 57. I targeted him relentlessly in the 50s, kind of thinking through his ADP would rise. Jacobs, Gibbs, Damian Harris, Achane, Bigsby, Chase Brown, McBride. So yeah, like Chase Brown, maybe a 0. McBride, almost assuredly a 0. Those are not ideal. But the Jacobs, Gibbs, Damian Harris, Achane, Bigsby might be enough at running back. Jefferson, Olave, Watson, Lockett, Godwin, Gabe Davis. Really good ADPs on these guys. Like that I stopped at 6 wide receivers. Kincaid, Cheap, Musgrave, and Luke Schoonmaker, who I still think has some outs to be viable, fall in the end zone. I'm not convinced Jake Ferguson is just going to be locked and loaded with no competition from Schoonmaker. But I don't draft him anymore. So strong enough a wideout. Really, the question is Jacobs and Gibbs strong enough? Would have loved to not have these two guys on the team, or at least Brown at least still has an out. So Mateo, one I've already posted, so we're going to skip that one. 89 was drafted on 7/29. It has Lamar and Young at quarterback, Cam Akers, Rashad Penny, Brian Robinson, Jalen Warren, Ty Chandler, Gus Edwards, Chase Brown. Not so sure about Edwards and Brown. I don't really draft them anymore. A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Hollywood Brown, Gabe Davis, Zay Flowers, MBS, DJ Chark. You can see Zay Flowers' ADP used to be in the 90s. Andrews and Kincaid. So I like this one. It's got a shot. Needs the running backs to come together. Needs MBS and Chark to do something. 7. Our third one. This is a launch day. Anthony Richardson, Lung, and Trey Lance. Obviously not ideal. I have Lance, but Richardson and Young might be enough. Richardson, Young, Trey Lance. Saquon, Ramondre, Gibbs in the 50s. Pierce, again, Chase Brown might be a 0, but with these 4 running backs, does not matter. Tyreek, Mike Williams, Jahan Dotson, Quentin Johnson. This is the all-rookie team. I also posted this on Twitter, actually. Quentin Johnson, or Zay Flowers, Mingo, Reed, Mims. Like the 5 rookie wideouts. Some nice ADP values on those. Cheap, Waller, and Kincaid. I like this one a lot. As long as Richardson and Young do enough at quarterback. And you can see the ADPs at QB open pretty wildly expensive. 33 is number 4. I streamed this one. So you can go back and watch this stream. It's on May 3rd. Hurts and Jones at QB. Miles Sanders, James Conner, Damian Harris, Jerick McKinnon, Kenneth Gainwell, and Eric Gray at running back. I'm not ready to call Eric Gray a 0. I think if something happened to Saquon, Eric Gray and Breida would share the workload. But it might just be the Breida show. Devonta Smith, Deebo Samuel, Amari Cooper, Jahan Dotson, Zay Jones, Darnell Mooney, Darius Slayton. So this is one where I took Hurts and Smith at the 1-2 turn to get unique. Wish I had landed on Calvin Ridley instead of Amari Cooper for the unique stack to really push home that uniqueness benefit, but is what it is. At least I got cheap Jahan Dotson. Goddard, Juwan Johnson, Michael Mayer. I like this team quite a bit. If need Gainwell, McKinnon, Damian Harris, Sanders, Connor to give me enough at running back is really how this team sinks or swim. 100 is number 4. I also streamed this one on August 8th. Allen and Lawrence at QB. Aaron Jones, DeAndre Swift, Zach Charbonnet, Tank Bigsby, Jerome Ford, and Kyron Williams at running back. Tyreek, Calvin Ridley, Kirk, Zay Jones, DJ Chark, DPJ, Chase Claypool, Khalil Shakir. Wish that was Hardy. Khalil Shakir could still play this year, so I don't think he's for sure a 0. Evan Ingram and Kincaid. I like the QB tight end stacks. And our last one here, we're going to go for an early one. Raise it with 24. This one got the muscle emoji from me. Anthony Richardson, Bryce Young, Tony Pollard, back when he was a 2-3 turn guy. Charbonnet, Gibson, back in the 120s. Jalen Warren, Tank Bigsby. All my early teams have Warren and Bigsby on them. Feels nice. Chase Brown, maybe a 0. Zamir White, maybe a 0, but I still think he's, the guy if Jacobs goes down. Jamar Chase, Devonta Smith, Christian Watson, like getting cheaper Christian Watson, JSN, Tyler Boyd, Alec Pierce, Terrace Marshall. Terrace Marshall, not for sure, 0. And then Kittle and Waller. So bully tight end team. Really needs Richardson to be something at QB to advance. Feels strong enough at running back, even if one of these guys is a 0. Feels strong enough at wide receiver with these 4, as long as Boyd and Pierce are giving me something. So we like it. This guy loves himself. Really odd thing to come onto my YouTube stream to say, Winnie. Pin to shame, guys. Everyone boo him. Boo! Boo! Oh, Winnie, the people have spoken. They're booing you. We're sticking it to the haters this year again. All right, guys. That's what we got for today. Might be back tonight with a night stream. Might be back. Boo. Oh, the boos are coming in, Winnie. Get out of here. Might be back tonight with a night stream. Might. If not, I'll do one tomorrow. I got a lot of DK drafts to do. Also got to resign. We don't pick on names here, Carlos, man. We don't pick on names. Please subscribe. Please like. Boo. Oh, you're getting booing. You're getting booed. Fun drafting is you as well. That's what I got for today, guys. Enjoy your weekend. Good luck in your drafts if you're doing any. And have a happy Labor Day. Peace.